Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 9. This is our last full week of the term, and it's an important one. So I want to take some time to go over the agenda with you and show you exactly what you need to do this week, because there are quite a few things that are requirements of you. We're preparing for the final exam essay that you will write in week 10. And in order to make sure that you are prepared, there are requirements that you have to fulfill in order to access certain assignments and the final exam essay. We're going to go through the week 9 module so that you can fully understand what you have to go through, the lessons you have to go through, and the assignments you have to complete in order to get to the final exam essay next week. Okay, go ahead and take a look here at week 9. So of course you'll have to take the week 9 attendance quiz first to access everything this week, and the questions on the quiz will come from the material we covered in week 8. So that was body paragraphs and concluding paragraphs, right? Then there'll be a brief review of week 8. And then we have 2 lessons this week, both of which are required, meaning you have to go through these lessons. The first one is a required lesson that is a follow-up on the sample essays that you read for homework in week 8. So coming over here, you can see, right? There's a follow-up video on chili time, a follow-up video on parenting 101, and a follow-up video on Singapore and Trinidad. You have to go through that lesson and watch those 3 follow-up videos in order to access one of your assignments for this week. You have to. You will not see the assignment. It won't even be there for you until you have gone through these 2 required lessons. That first required lesson are 3 follow-up videos for the 3 essays you read for homework last week. The other required lesson is preparing for the final exam essay. There are 2 sub-lessons that are required. The first is the course review. The second one is on how to create an outline. So those are over here, right? So you're going to have one lesson on, I went too far, one lesson that has 2 sub-lessons. So you got to go through the lesson on course review. It'll be just like this, like a Zoom meeting, except it's just me, where I go through the PowerPoint in real time. You know, you'll see my picture up in the corner and the PowerPoint on the screen. You have to go through that one. And then you have to go through the one where I'm showing you how to create an outline. And again, it'll be in that Zoom format where my picture's up in the corner and I'm showing you how to create an outline in real time on the screen, okay? You have to go through all of this. You have to. It is required. That's why it says required next to each one of them, right? I'm trying to draw your attention to that. Your homework for this week, review chapter 16. It's all about writing an essay, right? Then you have journal 9. It's a little bit of a course wrap up, you know, getting some feedback from you on certain things. Watch the video and the instructions, try to have that finished by Sunday night. And then you have week 9 assignment 1, final exam essay outline. This assignment is required. You must submit the final exam essay outline and receive full credit for it in order to access the final exam in week 10, right? So this is how it works. Next week, you have to do the final exam essay. You have to pass the class. You cannot access that final exam essay, though, unless you have submitted week 9 assignment 1 final exam essay outline and received full credit for it. If you submit it and it's wrong and you've got a 0 on it, you won't be able to access the final exam. You have to redo the outline until it's correct and you get full credit for it, right? So you have to do week 9 assignment 1. You have to do the outline and get full credit for it to even be able to access the final exam next week. And if you can't access the final exam, you can't submit the final exam. And if you can't submit the final exam, you get a 0 on it and you will likely fail the class. Okay, trying to emphasize just how important it is to stay on top of things this week. You have to submit the final exam essay outline and get full credit on it in order to access the final exam essay next week. Okay, but in order to access the assignment for the final exam essay outline here in week 9, you have to go through those required lessons up here in the week 9 module, right? You can kind of see how everything builds off of the previous thing. You have to go through this lesson on the sample essay follow-ups, and you have to go through both of these sub-lessons on preparing for the final exam essay in order to access week 9 assignment 1. You have to submit week 9 assignment 1 and get full credit on it in order to access the final exam essay next week. This might seem extreme, but it is to fully prepare you for the final exam essay, to make sure that you've gone through the necessary lessons, that you know how to create an effective outline for yourself, that you have submitted that outline, that you've done it correctly and gotten full credit for it, so that you are 100% prepared to do your final exam essay next week. So we've got required lessons this week in order to access the assignment here in week 9. You have to do that assignment and get full credit for it to access the final exam next week. That's how it works. Because I want people to be able to access the final exam as soon as they need to in week 10. You know, week 10 doesn't start until 12:01 Monday, so Sunday night, as soon as it turns midnight, Monday begins. That's the soonest that you can access the final exam essay assignment spot. And some students will want to do that. They will want to access it as soon as possible and get it done and over with and out of the way. In order for students to be able to access that exam, I am making week 9 assignment 1, the final exam essay outline, due on Friday of this week instead of Sunday like normal. Normally your assignments are all due Sunday night, right? This one is due Friday night of this week. That way, I have time over the weekend to make sure that I am grading them. And if there's a problem and you don't get full credit, you have time to redo it and get it turned back in. I have time to look at it a second time, hopefully give you full credit for it the second time around. We're doing it this way so that everyone hopefully has gone through the lessons of week 9, accessed week 9 assignment 1, completed it the right way, submitted it, and had enough time for me to grade it, give you full points and my feedback on it, on the outline, so that everyone can access that final exam essay as soon as week 10 begins. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to do the final exam essay as soon as week 10 begins, but at least everyone can. It will be available to you as soon as week 10 begins, so that when you are ready to work on it, you can do so. All right. So I know week 9, it's a big week, right? You have a couple of required lessons, a required assignment that's due Friday night. Okay. Please stay on top of things. I will go through, the lessons are so important. That's why they're required. And I'm hoping that by making you go through those lessons, requiring you to go through those lessons, that you will be able to complete week 9 assignment 1 and fill out your outline and it be totally correct the first time around. You get full credit for it right away, and everybody's prepared to do well on the final exam essay in week 10. I will repeat this a few times in videos and in messages that I send to everyone. Remember, week 10 is a short week. That's why I said at the beginning of this video, this is our last full week of the term. Week 10 is short. It begins Monday, it ends Thursday night. That is when the term ends. Your final exam essay is going to be due Wednesday night of week 10, so that I have time to grade all of them Thursday, because final grades are due Friday. Quick turnaround here in week 10, or there in week 10, right? So I'm trying to prepare you as much as possible for that final exam essay so that you can start working on it as soon as you are ready, because you only get 3 full days to complete it and submit it in week 10. So please make some time for yourself this week, knowing that you have to go through these lessons in week 9 to get to week 9 assignment 1. And you have to get to week 9 assignment 1, complete it, get full credit for it in order to get to the final exam essay next week. So it's like one key opens the next door, and that key opens the next door until you get to the place that you ultimately need to be, which is the final exam essay next week. Okay, so there will be lots of explanation in the lessons. There will be a very detailed instruction video located in week 9 assignment 1. But if you have any questions, run into any problems this week, please reach out. I know this is a little different. We've not done anything like this in previous modules where you're required to go through lessons in order to access assignments, that sort of thing. So, I know it can be a little daunting and a little confusing at first. Reach out as soon as possible so that we can get you back on track, and you can keep moving forward and get to where you need to be before week 10 starts. Okay? All right. I'm here for whatever you need. Otherwise, go ahead and get started.